Hello besties, welcome back to another video. We're back and I have a book rec video for you guys. Here are a bunch of romance book recs. I don't think I filmed a book rec video on here yet. I know on Book Talk and on BookTube we're always looking for new books to read. But here are some books I love, which feel like the majority of them are popular books, but yeah. There's one book I'm gonna read very soon. That is a romance book, but I've never heard anybody talk about it on Book Talk or BookTube or anything, and I can't wait to get my review for you guys, and I hope it's good because I want to recommend it to you guys. Anyways, let's get started. I don't think I have talked about this book, definitely not on YouTube, but I haven't talked about this in a very long time on TikTok. That is Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. I don't know why, like I love this book so much. And this is like, I have not read any other Ali Hazelwood book, though I'm staring at two on my TBR cart right now. This is my favorite book of hers, and everybody needs to read this book. The romance is just, the chemistry between them is everything. Oh my god. This book follows Elsie and Jack. Elsie, basically, there's this like app that she's on, and it's like, she goes on fake dates. It's like another job for her. She goes on these fake dates, and it's basically like her second job, but her first job is she's in the science field. She goes on this fake date with this guy, and his brother's very like mysterious. I want to say he's mysterious. I don't really 100% remember, but I feel like he was. She has this really big meeting, and she goes, and guess who she sees? The brother of the guy she was on the date with, and he's looking and he's like, this is not what you said you did. Why are you lying about your job? Why are you here? I love it. I love it. I love it. Honestly, I'm gonna be so for real. I don't remember the tropes of it. I just know how much I love this book and how much everybody needs to read about Elsie and Jack. I didn't even rate it 5 stars, but it feels like a 5-star. Like, it's just that that's how it's like, for like an inch of a thing. If you guys want my rating, because I have a lot of these that are 5 stars here, I rated this one 4.75, if that helps you guys to see how much I liked it. Go read this. You won't regret it. I feel like everybody has talked about this, but the sequel comes out this fall. Better than the movies. I know I never took this sticker off. Let's ignore it. This book follows Liz and Wes, and they have disliked each other ever since the 2nd grade. They're like basically enemies to lovers in a sort of realistic sense. And Liz grew up loving rom-coms, like I'm gonna say like early 2000 type rom-coms, and at the beginning of each chapter there's a quote from one of a popular rom-com. A guy that Liz used to like comes back to her school after a couple of years, and she has a crush on this guy Michael, and she tries to get Michael to be her boyfriend, and she wants to convince him to like her. And she realizes the only way that she'll be able to do that is if she has Wes's help. So she has to start talking to Wes, even though she like kind of hates him. So it's kind of like, it's cute. It's cute, and I really do recommend this. I think I rated this 4 stars. And because it's still summer, this is the perfect book rec for this time. I read this basically around this time last year. The Summer of Broken Rules. Really cute. Not really 100% a romance. I would say it has more family aspects than romance, but there is a small romance aspect, and the romance of it is really cute. There's this girl Meredith, and her cousin is having her wedding, and she has to go back to where her and her sister kind of spent their summers as a kid. And the thing about this is her sister had passed recently, or like the year before, I believe. So it's her first time being back there, and very sentimental, but also they're just trying to live on in the memory of her sister. And they do this little water gun fight thing that they've been doing, and it's a really cute story. And she meets this guy, and her sister kind of had a joke that they were gonna meet a guy kind of describing like the way he is. Yeah, she kind of falls with this guy that she meets while she's on vacation or whatever, and it's really cute, and I do recommend this. I rated this 3 stars. It wasn't bad, but it's obviously good. I'm recommending it to you guys, but I don't think it was my personal favorite. But I would say the general rating of this book I've seen is 4 stars. Okay guys, if you follow me on TikTok, you already know how much I love this book and that this is my favorite book, and I will never stop talking about it, and it literally means the whole entire world to me. And that is If You Know Me. Every time I see this cover, I see it, I want to cry. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not. If you guys need a sad book to read this. Read this. But I don't know, because I know there's a lot of people who don't like this book. I personally don't understand how that's possible. The main character to me is very relatable, and I feel like if you wouldn't understand what she's going through and thinking certain things about her or the way she, or the things that she does, you could dislike it. But to me, it very relatable on her part. But the romance in this, it's not just the romance that's sad, it's the ending. Like, you probably won't cry until like the last 20-ish pages, I would say. Maybe more than that, but that says it all. I never annotate a book unless I'm absolutely deeply in love with it, and that's the case for this book. Absolutely obsessed. I love it. I love them. This book is about a girl named Autumn and a guy named Finney, whose moms were best friends when they were in high school, and they live right next to each other, the mothers. And these two, Autumn and Finney, have grown up together and are also best friends, but as they kind of get older, they differ into different friend groups and start to kind of like disconnect a little bit. And it's just kind of like you go through their whole entire life from 7th grade to 12th, I think, till graduation is where the story takes place. I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry. Because every time I think about this book, every time I talk about this book, tears. Read this if you want a broken heart. No, but seriously, it is an amazing book. And even though it is very, very sad towards the end, I would still say everybody should read this if you can take it, because perfect. And like, I want to reread this so bad, but like, I don't think my heart could take it. I read this in June of last year. But yeah, I love this. And I rated this 5 stars. It's my favorite book. So yeah. Okay. Next book I have is a book I read pretty recently, I would say. Everybody talks about it, and it's either you love it or you don't, and the reason because of that is because it's a very, very toxic relationship and toxic themes, and that is Magnolia Parks. I really do like this book. I didn't expect to like it as much. It's just like something about listening in to people who are just rich just is interesting, and their rich life in London is just like interesting to me. I rated this one 4.25. Absolutely amazing. I don't really know what to say about their story. Magnolia and BJ, they dated for 3 years, but they still act like they date. Like, they're very, very close, and they sleep in the same bed every night even though they're not together. And it's just like they'll always be best friends, but they broke up because something huge happened, and yeah, crazy. And the end, wow. I mean, I don't know, this is either a hit or miss. You're either gonna love it or despise the purpose of it. I really liked it. I'm not justifying anybody's actions in this book, but I'm just saying that it is a very interesting story and it's really good. Okay guys, I have to talk about this book in every YouTube video I post. Seriously, every YouTube video I post. So if you've been here, you already know, you already know. I love Brooklyn 13. I love the series, my favorite series ever. Johnny and Shannon. There's not a day that goes by where I don't think about them, where I don't talk about them. Not a day. Not a day. Everybody knows me for this series. And hey, I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it because I love this book and I love this series. I'm just like, I'm blushing thinking about them. Like, I just love this series. I love them. So Shannon is just starting to attend Taman College because there's been a lot of things that happened at her old school. She's had trouble in school, and on the first day of being at her new school, she meets this boy, Johnny, and their meeting is actually hilarious because she's like she interrupts the rugby practice, but she doesn't even know that's like, she has no idea where she is, what's going on. And she gets hit in the head with a rugby ball, and he is so sweet about it, and it is so cute. But she has so much going on in her life, and so much that the world doesn't see, and she hides so much, and there's so much behind closed doors that happen. And I really, really, really think everybody needs to read the series, but at the same time, very, very, very triggering topics. There's a lot of triggering things that happen in this book, I would say. Definitely. He is the sweetest guy in the world. He really is. I love him to death, and he is like my favorite book boyfriend. Like, one of them. Discourse of this author. There's a lot of people who do not like her, but I just feel like if you're first getting into reading, you have to read It Ends With Us. It's just, you have to read this book. I mean, personally, I loved this book, 5 stars. So is Binding 13. My thing is, with every single Colleen Hoover book I have read, I feel like I have learned a lesson. At least most of them, I feel like I've learned a lesson. Like, they're so knowledgeable and telling, and especially with this book, you see things from a different point of view. Because I feel like, I'm not gonna spoil it, but if you were to be a person and see what was going on in this book, you'd be like, you're stupid. You'd be like, you're stupid. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing, girly? Like, actually. But if you're reading it from this person's point of view, you understand it, and you understand how hard it is. And I don't know. I learned a lesson, and I loved it. And this book is about Lily, who hasn't, it literally says Lily hasn't always had it easy. And the movie is coming out really, really soon. I went to Boston recently. I don't know if she's been there, if it was like really, really recently, like when you first started the book. In her Boston apartment, I believe, she goes to the roof on the day, just like taking air or whatever it is she was doing. And she sees this guy, Ryle, who is up there, and he's really, really angry, throwing chairs. They kind of form a connection, but something happens. Actually, a series of things happen that are absolutely insane in this book. These have common themes in a way. I could see that, but I really recommend this. Another Colleen Hoover book, because I just loved this book. All Your Perfects. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. But I would also say that this has a big, very big trigger warning. And so does It Ends With Us. Like, these 3 books have trigger warnings. I would look them up if you are planning on reading it. Broke my heart to pieces when I read this. I think I read this on, like, it was August something of last year. But when I tell you guys, I cried my eyes out. I stayed up all night to read this book, and I cried my eyes out. And it wouldn't stop. It didn't stop. So this book follows Quinn and Graham, who they meet because they find out their spouses were cheating on each other. The girl is going back to her apartment, and there's a guy waiting outside, and she's like, what is he doing? What is he doing? And he's like, oh yeah, my spouse is in there with your spouse cheating on each other. And that's how it literally starts. They become friends, and then more than friends, and it's like their journey as a married couple and all the hardships that a married couple go through. Just the big struggle that they're going through breaks my heart to pieces because of how distant it makes the couple, and it's just like so heartbreaking, but it's so good. And how at the end, you know, obviously at the end of the book things are resolved, but in the way it's resolved is literally the cutest thing in the world. And love this book. I think I rated this one 4.5. Like, that's how good it was. If you guys have any book recs for me that are like underrated, please send them over here. But I feel like I have read a lot of books, but until I read a lot of the popular books that or like the books that are on my radar. Like, I'm staring at my TBR cart and it's full. It is full. No, and also I don't really come across a lot of books that I haven't heard. Like, the books that I read are because everybody tells me to read them and they say that they're good books. Yeah, if you have any book recs, romance book recs, you can definitely drop them below. Please do. Archer's Voice. Read Archer's Voice, guys. I feel like I haven't heard anyone talk about this book in a very, very long time. This book is about this girl, Bree, who decides that she needs to get away from her hometown and needs to get away from everything that happened and is going on back home. So she winds up in this small town called Pelion, Maine. I literally have a hoodie for this shirt. That's how much I love it. I have a hoodie with a quote from this shirt, from this book. Anyway, so she meets this guy, Archer Hale, which everybody in the town knows about because it's a small little town. Everybody knows everybody. But he is very quiet, and something happened to him when he was 7 years old that he has never recovered from. And it doesn't say what how he is, but it does say he's silent and he doesn't communicate with anybody. But they don't elaborate on that, and I'm not trying to spoil it, so that's what I'm gonna leave it at. They form a connection like no other. This is some good stuff in here. I annotated it, I tabbed it, I rated it 5 stars. It was good. I cried a lot when reading, if you guys haven't noticed. Finding out what actually happened to Archer and then what happened to Bree, because they both have emotional traumatic pasts. And the thing about me is those are the books that draws me in, and I think the more you read, the more you learn about your book taste. And I just recently finished reading Twisted Games, and I realized what I'm liking in books and the things I like. And this is the type of book I like, when they both have emotional traumatic pasts and try to move on with that together and form a connection because of it. Those are the type of books I like to read, and I'm noticing that as the trend of why I don't like certain books I read. It's a good one, but I feel like I haven't heard much about it lately, and I think it should be talked about more again. Last but not least, The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I don't know if you guys know, but this is one of the books, if not the book, that made reading come alive to me and made me see reading in like a different perspective, I want to say, because I had never read a book like this one until I read this. This is just, it's not like anything crazy. It's but yeah, this is like the first book I read that was like made me comically laugh out loud throughout the whole book. And I don't know, I saw a new way of reading. This book follows Hannah and Garrett. Garrett is a hockey player at Broward University, and he gets a really bad grade on his philosophy test and sees Hannah and is like, I remember her. She is very, very smart. I'm gonna go ask her for help. And she winds up tutoring him. It's so weird because they're so opposite, yet they're so them, and I love them. One of my favorite book couples ever, for real, and I think this is a must-read series. I rated this one 5 stars. Everything and more. I love books, especially this series. But yeah, that's it. That concludes this video. I hope you guys enjoyed and got some good book recs out of this. I really, really hope so. If you guys have any book recs for me, please comment them. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. You guys can like, you guys can please comment if you guys are planning on reading any of these, and you guys can subscribe if you guys want to. Bye.